My name is Jason Medlock, and you're watching Expansion of Consciousness, where we explore the powers of the subconscious mind, learn to reprogram the mind for success using quantum hypnosis, teaching mental strategies for athletes, coaches, and business professionals that produce peak performance. Also using meditation and mindfulness to build more focus. Let's get to it right now.
I want to welcome you to the Transform Your Mindset Bootcamp with the fascination with the human mind. The fascination with consciousness is what drives you.
You cannot miss the fact that mental training techniques roll right in the dynamic of the actual training process. Wow. Good afternoon and welcome to the Mental Game Plan. I'm your host, Jason Medlock, and today's episode of the Mental Game Plan, obviously you guys know we delve into the dynamic world of sports, and we're going to always cover the mental aspect of sports and how these guys and how these young ladies train, and the things that they have to prepare for as they try to reach peak performance. But we're going to talk about the world of sports recruitment right now and talent development with CJ Cavazos. With over 25 years of experience, CJ has been at the forefront of college recruiting, having served pivotal roles such as the Director of College and Professional Relations for the XFL and Director of Football Relations at the University of Nebraska. As the founder of a respected Texas-based recruiting company, CJ has honed his skills as a talent evaluator and has built an extensive network within college and professional sports. Today, CJ joins us to share his deep insights into the nuances of sports recruitment, the development of athletes, and the strategic management of sports program. Guys, join us as we explore CJ's experience and innovative approaches that have shaped careers and transformed sports recruitment practices all across this country. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest, Mr. CJ Cavazos. Hey there, man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, I'm good. Thank you very much for the introduction. You know, I've been introduced to a lot of people in a lot of places. I don't think I've been introduced that well. Great job, Jason Medlock. Thank you very much.
Brother. I appreciate you. We've known each other for some time. We cut our teeth on the recruiting trail as young, aspiring sports agents. I watched you from afar. You've always had the gift of orator. You know, your oratorical skills, the way you've been able to talk to people, connect to people. That's been really fabulous to watch. And as we've grown with our kids and we've grown to understand this space much, much better, it's exciting to see your growth, and I'm glad you're here. Give us the background. We know, and I've given a little bit of it to the audience, but give us the true background on how things started and move you into the place you are right now.
That's a great question, Jason. Years ago, I was coaching at Dallas Carter High School. I'd say 96, 97, and 98. And I've been around, I was around so much talent. Daryl Jones, Chris Lewis, Jamal Chris, great athletes. Before DeSoto was DeSoto and Duncanville was Duncanville, Dallas Carter was the Mecca. And yes. I got real blessed to coach there with Bruce Chambers and a lot of good coaches, Linus Walton, and a bunch of real good guys. And I got to see what elite players were. I got to see what phenomenal talent was. We probably had 20 to 23 Division I players on one football team. And that's that IMG stuff you see now. This was happening in the late 90s at Carter. And I got to see a lot of great players. I coached wide receivers. I had 6 wide receivers go Division I off one team. I remember I sent film on one of my wide receivers. I sent JV film to a Division I school. They offered him and took him. He graduated. So at the end of the day, I was really intrigued with the recruiting part of high school football. I really enjoyed it. At Dallas Carter, Coach Chambers did us a favor. And every time somebody wanted to meet with somebody from your position, you had to be there to protect the school, to protect Dallas Carter. And I had wide receivers, I had 6 go D1. So think about how many meetings I was in. So I got to meet a young Urban Meyer before he was Urban Meyer. I got to meet a young Kevin Sumlin before he was Kevin Sumlin, Steve Crackthorpe, and so on and so on. All these Carl Durrell, all these wide receiver coaches that became head coaches. So I got a chance to do that. And that really, really, really said, you know what? I want to do this. I love college recruiting. I love the football aspect of it. I loved coaching football, but I loved watching kids and how it changed their lives and how they got to pick a school, how they went to school, how they graduated, and how they figured they would be good parents and good fathers. I left Dallas Carter and went to Mission, Texas in the Rio Grande Valley. Most people don't even know where that's at. That's where Tom Landry's from. And they had no Division I players ever there. I go there and somebody said, "Hey man, we got a real good basketball player." I said, "What?" He's a real good player. I said, "Guys, come on, man. We're in Mission. I just left Dallas Carter."
Right.
Well, watch this kid, and he's jumping out of the gym. I'm sitting there like, "Who are you?" "Oh, I played football last year. I don't know if I'm gonna play next year." I said, "You don't know if you're gonna play?" I said, "Son, if you were at Dallas Carter, you'd probably be the top recruit in the country. You're playing college football, and I can help you get there." Well, of course, I tell his mom that, and him that. They look at me like I have fool written on my forehead. And I'm like, yes, a kid from Mission, Texas is going Division I. So he was my first client. His name was Jamar Taylor. And Jamar Taylor ended up being a guy that I think played with you at Texas A&M. And Jamar Taylor ended up signing with Notre Dame and Urban Meyer. I'll never forget Bob Davie and Urban Meyer came to Mission, Texas every week for about 8 weeks. Every week he was there. He'd leave Mission and go to Florida to recruit some linemen, some offensive linemen. And he was at Notre Dame. And Jamar signed with Notre Dame out of high school, got hurt early in training camp on his knee in a bike accident. Hated Notre Dame because it was too cold for him, a South Texas guy. Bob Davies sold him on a great dream. It was phenomenal. We're eating Mexican food at a Mexican restaurant. And he says, "You come to Notre Dame, you're going to be in the cover of Sports Church, you're going to be on this." I'm like, oh my gosh, I was hook, line, sinker. Poor kid. So he went to Notre Dame, had an okay experience, ended up transferring to Texas A&M. Steve Crackthorpe took him and R.C. Slocum. And the rest is history. He had a great career at Texas A&M and got drafted, I think, in the 5th round. And his trajectory of his life changed from like a kid from Mission, Texas to Notre Dame to Texas A&M to the National Football League. And that really got me. I said, you know what? It can really help change kids' lives. It was never about me. It was always about your talent level can help you get to that next level. Sometimes kids just need to hear it from somebody different than their parents. Had another kid there named Ricky Cardozo that went D1 to A&M. Had another kid named Rory Birdwell that went D1 to SMU, Danny Longoria. So I went to a school that never had D1 talent. They ended up having 4 or 5 guys sign Division I scholarships in about 2 years. So I fell in love with the recruiting aspect. And I remember Kevin Sumlin, I called him one time, "Hey, man, I got a guy." And Coach Sumlin said, "Hey, man, you're like CJ recruiting. Every time you call me, you got a guy." So Kevin Sumlin made my company. I'm not paying Kevin Sumlin no bird dog fee. He's made a whole lot more money than me. But Coach Sumlin and I are still friends. He's at Maryland as the offensive coordinator. We still talk on a regular basis. And I have great relationships with all these guys. But it all started from the Dallas Carter days with a dream. And I got to live it. And I still live it today because, everybody says, "What are you doing today? Are you going to work?" Well, you and I do the same thing that we do every day. It's not work when you love what you do.
Right.
And when you love what you do, it's not work. When a parent calls me at 10 o'clock at night, I want to talk to them. I want to help them. So it's love. And I really enjoy it. The passion I have for recruiting is something that ignites me to wake up every day and help try to change kids' lives.
This journey, CJ, from being a high school coach, and we'll get to the college football coach later because you've done that as well. But it's helped you become a leading figure in college recruiting, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's fascinating, really, my man, to hear how your coaching background has really enriched your approach to recruitment. It just seems that you've been blending this tactical knowledge that you have with the personal insights of all the experiences actually into athletic development, and that's big. And a lot of guys have they've missed the boat on that.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, Jason, because a lot of people think, I mean, I could name drop, but I'm not going to name drop. I know a lot of people, God is good, but a lot of people think because this guy, my kid's going there. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, you have an elite son that's in the Division I schools, and everybody thinks, their high school friends, oh, well, if he can go there, I can go there. It doesn't work like that. College football is a measurable sport. A lot of people don't want to hear that. It's about height, weight, wingspan, hand size, and speed. And then the film shows you what it shows you. But I've been at camps before at Ohio State, and I saw a guy like, okay, who is that? And I mean, you see the speed. It's just a blessing, man. My eyes don't lie to me. I mean, I have a talent to see kids that, of course, I like seeing a big kid walk through the door that his head hits the top of the door. I love him already because he's got it.
Yeah,
that big offensive lineman or big defensive lineman. So it's just it's a great talent to have, but it's also a bad talent to have because a lot of people don't like hearing the truth about their kid. I've never had a parent call me and tell me his kid's not great. And I'm sitting here and telling him like, hey, look, my son went to Ohio State. My son transferred to North Carolina. He's in the portal, and I still don't say he's great. I still say he's got a lot to work on. So my son's a dog. My son's this, like my daughter this. Guys, there's a lot of talent out there. We got to find the best place that your kid fits. And I think, what you do with a mental game plan, parents need to understand that every kid doesn't fit anywhere they think they can go. Go to where people look like you, play like you, because coaches don't change. Coaches are always going to play guys that look like the guys that are playing right now on their field. And they're not going to take a 5'8", 145-pound receiver. He's a dog. Had a guy call me yesterday. Hey, my son's 5'10", 145. I said, okay, what grade's he in? He graduates in May. I said, well, what do you need? He said, well, he wants to go play football at this certain school. I said, I'll be real honest with you. If I call that school, they might hang up on me because your son's too small and he'd be in jeopardy of getting his neck broke out there. This football game is not easy. This is a violent sport. Had an NFL coach tell me one day, college football and NFL football is a gladiator sport. It is not for anybody. It's not for regular people. These kids tick differently. Their DNA, the way they act, the way they carry themselves, they're physically phenomenal athletes and they're big, fast, and strong. And you put a 5'10", 145-pound kid out there and he gets hit, he's done. I mean, my son's 6'1", 208 pounds playing corner. That kid won't even get off the line of scrimmage. But parents don't like hearing the truth. I tell them that. Sometimes I get in trouble for it, but the good thing about it, when you work for yourself, you can't fire yourself. So
that's awesome. We know that what inspired your career to start this recruiting company. Just been dealing with all the kids at Dallas Carter and that Mission High School. But how's your vision evolved over the years for this entire recruiting process?
Oh, it's changed so much. Back in the day, I mean, I remember I used to call Urban and say, Urban, what's your FedEx number? And he'd give me his FedEx number, and I'd go to FedEx and I'd send a tape. Kevin, what's your FedEx number at A&M? And they'd give me a FedEx number, and I'd manually make 20 copies of VCR tapes, and I would take them to FedEx with all these schools' different FedEx numbers, and I would FedEx everybody a tape. They get it the next day, they'd watch it, they evaluate, they call me like, hey, this guy's amazing, this guy's this guy's that. Well, in today's day and age, we have Huddle. And Huddle, which I didn't know until I went to University of Nebraska, is located in Lincoln, Nebraska. And Huddle is now, you can copy and paste and email any video of any high school player to any college coach in the country. And it makes it a lot easier, a lot more time consuming, where high school coaches just have to use their computers to send film. And most college programs like we did at Nebraska, we have a Huddle account where we can go on and watch any game of any recruit in the country. So Huddle has changed the game of how guys are actually getting recruited, because the way the film gets from one person to another is so much easier. From the coaching aspect of it, the coaches still watch the film. They have directors of player personnel and recruiting departments that actually watch film. But at the end of the day, a position coach is going to watch the film of who they think is good, and they're going to go back and forth with GMs or head coaches, etc., whatever the pecking order is. So, every place is different. But at the end of the day, coaches still watch kids and still evaluate them. They might have a cheat code now because other people will watch them first and kind of not have to watch so many. So I think recruiting has changed a lot from that standpoint, but college coaches still have a major effect in recruiting players because they're the ones with the relationships with the actual recruit, with the high school coaches and the parents. They're the ones going into the building and meeting these kids. So college coaches are still doing the old school recruiting, the old style way, but there's a lot more backdoor things going on that are allowing them to make their job easier, God willing.
Exactly. And I want to now let's dive off into it because I want you to explain to the audience the key elements when evaluating a potential athlete for college sports.
Ooh, well, measurables. I mean, parents don't like that, but you give me a 6'3", 185-pound wide receiver that runs 4.5 40, college coaches are going to be intrigued because they know he's going to grow. You're going to get into a weight program. You're going to get into a strength and conditioning program. You're going to get into a good nutrition program. Mm-hmm. You're going to gain weight. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get bigger. But when you have that frame allows you to put that weight on. Yeah. So that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, why are they recruiting that guy? Why are they recruiting this guy? I tell a lot of parents, don't worry about who's getting recruited. Worry about the person in your house. You only have control of the person that lives under your roof. If you are worried about other kids in other houses, then you're hurting your kid because you're putting pressure on your kid. Let your kid be a kid and don't worry about nobody else's. God will take care of everything. This recruiting stuff, it takes care of itself. Yeah, it's harder from kids that come from schools that are not highly recruited like Duncanville and DeSoto. And sometimes I get blessed enough to help kids because parents hire me and I can put them in the forefront because I can call a coach. I texted a coach last night from a school here in Texas. I said, hey, I got a quarterback in the portal that just got in from UTEP. He's very interested in coming to your school. The head coach responded to me in less than 10 minutes. I responded to him. The ball's rolling. They're interested. So, yeah, sometimes we got to push the envelope as a parent, but you got to trust who's going to do it. Like, do you really know who you say you're going to know? And, my website that was built by a guy in Dallas did a phenomenal job, and it looks great because my alumni page shows me a lot of names of kids that are not big names. They're not Justin Medlocks. They're not legend Cavazos. They're not guys that had 20, 30 offers. They're guys that had one offer. They're guys that had maybe two offers. That's what recruiting, the hard recruit is. And that's the one I like. I mean, anybody can help a legend or a Justin because it is what it is coming out of high school. Everybody wanted him. But the ones that don't have anything, those are the ones that I take pride in. So it's very, very difficult and very, very fun.
So we got one element is height, weight, and obviously that's one of the key things. Obviously the kid has to be able to run, but what about the actual mechanics when you're evaluating these kids, trying to understand if they fit? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, a college coach, like an offensive line coach, will look at how the guy steps, how he punches, how he moves in small spaces. They talk about centers and guards, for example. Centers and guards play in what's called a phone booth. They only play in a small area. So they have to be able to move in that small area in a very elite way. An offensive tackle, for example, he's got space because outside of the tackle, it's all to the sideline. So they have to block guys like your son coming off that edge. So they have to get off quicker. They have to show better feet. They have to show great length in long arms because they're the ones that have to protect the quarterback. For a quarterback, footwork, delivery of the ball, the ability, everybody thinks evaluating quarterbacks, oh, this guy's the guy, this guy's the guy. How is Brock Purdy the last pick in the NFL draft and might be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? He's got something in here that not many people have. He's special. And that's why six quarterbacks got drafted in the top 12 picks because nobody wants to have that Brock Purdy happen to them again. So I think quarterbacks now are going to get drafted quicker because of what a guy like Brock Purdy did. Brock Purdy wasn't a highly recruited guy from Arizona. He went to Iowa State. He wasn't All-American first team. He wasn't Heisman finalist. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. But he had it. And it is what every NFL team is looking for. And I'm going to tell you right now, every college team is looking for it too. Every college team is looking for a quarterback that can do things inside there. They process, they feel it, they see it, and they let it go. That's what college coaches are trying to find. And it's a science that nobody knows. And they can think they know, and you can rank this guy number one quarterback in the country, number two. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of real good players out there. And the player that has the strongest mindset and that can deliver and not worry about what's happening around them are the ones that succeed.
Say that one more time. The strongest what?
Mindset.
And that's one of the things obviously I do. And just like you created that niche, and it's not like you're the only person doing it right now, but back when you started, you were the only person doing this. I know that because I was in the recruiting game as well. But kudos to you. But understanding the mindset, understanding that it's not just about the physical. These quarterbacks have a mental game that if they can elevate that, if they can elevate it through sports psychology, if they can elevate it through sports hypnosis, this mindset is valuable, not just for the quarterback, but we understand the quarterback is very important. But for all the players, if they can elevate that portion of it along with this height, weight, speed, then you have a top 1, 2, 3 round guy.
I agree. You know, people don't realize college football players, their mental is probably more important than their measurables once they get there.
Yes.
Because now you have coaches that might have recruited you that are gone. Mm-hmm. You have coaches that recruited somebody else that they like more that are going to play because I recruited him, I didn't recruit him. And then you have strength coaches that are there to help them, but they play mind games. You can't do this. You can't do this. You got to get better. It's never good enough. So a elite athlete goes through so much in their mind that they have to be able to be mentally strong, because playing college football is not easy. It's hard. It's so hard because you got to go to class, you got to go to meetings, you got to go to practice, you got to be able to do all the right things outside of the building, because whenever a college football player does something wrong, he's on ESPN, NFL Network, because they never say when they do something right. But there's a lot of college football players that do great things. We only hear about the ones that mess up, and that's bad in the media aspect. But it is what it is. You know, the media has to get their clicks and do what they do. But I believe a college football player's mental ability to overcome adversity day by day helps them become the best that they can be. As a parent, I'm not licensed to be a mental person. You are, but I'm a mental person to my son that plays college football every day. And parents are big advocates. We have to talk these kids. It's going to be okay. We have to educate our kids that it's okay. It's okay. Talk to me. Because if we don't talk to them, who are they going to talk to? Who knows?
Yeah.
So we have to control each narrative that we can control. But being a parent is also part of working in the mental game, because I feel like I'm not a psychologist, but boy, do I deal with my son. It is a full-time job, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I signed up for it when I had him, and I'm blessed to have him and my other kids, because as a parent, we're always in the mental game with our children.
And I just want people to understand that are listening right now, parents, athletes, coaches, and particularly parents and athletes, understanding the criteria for the athlete evaluation. It can provide you with critical insights into what makes a recruit stands out. And it's not about your personal feelings about the individual, whether it be a young lady or a young man. It's about the process. It's about the intangibles. But let's just move on. I want to understand the role that networking has played in your career, especially with your interactions with well-known coaches and athletes, CJ.
Wow, it's been crazy. Like, you know, I went to Blinn Junior College, 88 through 90. And got an associate's degree from there, played football, had a great time. I met a bunch of people there. I've always been the guy that wants to meet everybody, because that kind of that my pathway to life kind of started in Brenham, Texas. And transferred from there to Texas Tech, played football and ran track, and met a lot of guys at Texas Tech. And Texas Tech kind of shut me up. You know, Marcus Coleman, which is now a DB coach at UTRGV, played DB at Texas Tech, went on to the New York Jets. Zach Thomas, played middle linebacker for us, went to the Dolphins, had a phenomenal career. Those kind of guys I got to know very well at a young age. I went with Marcus to go watch training camp because I was coaching. And I went when he got drafted by the Jets, and I went and watched him. Of course, Aaron Glenn's there, Ray Mickens there, your Aggie guys, Victor Green. That I got to know Vic very well there. That ended up our sons played together in North Carolina. Everything comes back. My son Legend played with Ray Mickens' son in a youth football team. So we've always stayed in contact with each other. And Marcus being a DB, his assistant DB coach was Todd Bowles. And I would practice every day, and Todd's like, who's that guy? Marcus, hey, that's my buddy. He coaches high school football. So Todd goes over there and talks to me. He says, Coach, hey, what's going on? I said, hey, man, good. How you doing? CJ Cavazos, Todd Bowles, first NFL job, assistant DB coach. He says, what do you see in practice? I said, well, I'm watching cover 2, and y'all are dropping that middle linebacker to the middle of the field. Like, why do y'all do that? We don't do that in high school. He said, well, that's the hold, and he starts telling me why. I was like, well, I like that. He said, why don't you come into a meeting with us this afternoon? I was like, what? So the Jets were not very good back then. Parcells was the head coach. So I go in with a meeting. I sit my butt in the corner, and probably one of the first times in my life, I was quiet. I didn't say nothing. I just shut up and listened. And he invited me back the next day and the next day. And a trip that was supposed to be 4 or 5 days, I ended up staying 2 weeks. And I learned so much about football. But more importantly, I got to know Todd Bowles very well. And Todd Bowles and I became very, very good friends. We stayed in touch. I always thanked him. And then he leaves there and goes to Cleveland, and then he goes to Miami, goes to Dallas.
Titans.
Do what?
The Titans.
Todd never went. He never coached for the Titans, I don't think.
Oh, okay. I thought.
No, he went to Arizona. Then after Arizona, he came to Tampa, and we always stayed in contact, and we always were good friends. And of course, I played ball at Texas Tech, and our star running back was named Anthony Lynn. Who knows Anthony Lynn? I mean, he was the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, but my story with Anthony Lynn is totally different than football. My twin brother died in a car accident November 16th, 1990. And I fly back from McAllen to Lubbock, and I get picked up in a little red Chevette car with no air conditioning. Anthony Lynn's picking me up. And of course, it's the worst time of my life at 20 years old. I'm about to turn 21. And Anthony Lynn tells me, he's like, you know what? I don't know what to say, but I'm going to say this. You lost your twin brother, but you gained a brother. And from that day forward, we've been boys. I mean, we have been guys that I went to his son's wedding in Mexico. We traveled together every spring and every summer, Anthony and I. The friendship we have is something that I can't even explain, because I never thought the lowest part of my life I would hear a man tell me this. Not just a guy that was on the team, like probably the biggest name on our team, humbled himself to tell me that. And boy, we've been great friends since then, and I'll do anything for him, and he'll do anything for me. And I follow his path and his journey. He was with the Niners this year. I went to the Niners championship game, saw him after the game on the field. I didn't get a Super Bowl ticket, so that's on him. But hey, he's got kids and stuff. But I've been blessed enough to be around a lot of guys and know a lot of people, and those guys have enabled me to have a network that not many people have. But it's a blessing. It's a blessing, and it's great.
Networking is crucial in a number of fields, a number of businesses, but it seems really particular that it's pivotal in sports. But your experience, CJ, could offer a masterclass in building leverage with professional relationships, because you've done it so well. You've done it with such poise, but you've done it from your heart.
Yep.
And that's why you have lasting relationships, guys who trust you, and you can pick the phone up and call guys and get the honest God truth.
Well, it's just about, just doing right by people. Joaquin Cavazos, my dad, taught me just do right, just do right. And when you do right by people, good things happen to you. Don't get in something trying to get something in return. Just do right by people, man. Everybody, we live in a world today that's all about me, me, me. I wanted to be about we. And how do we work together? And how do we help each other? And how do we make kids better? Tomorrow's future is today's kids. And if we can help today's kids be better tomorrow, somebody may take care of us when we're old. And
this is why I wanted you to come on. I want you to come on because people see you talk. They know you know everybody. You're running down the good things. You're running down the bad things. But the stories, the ability to show compassion and to receive compassion and explain, hey, this is how I got all of this. This is why I'm effective.
Yeah.
Is good. And I'm glad I twisted your arm to come on today.
Oh, I tell you, you don't take much to get me on a podcast. And I love talking. Shoot. Some people say I talk too much, but you know what? My talking has put me in situations that have been surreal. I was standing on the sideline this year at University of Nebraska, and I looked up at the stands and I said, wow, God is good. You know, this is a blessing that I get a chance to work for a university, work for a great guy like Matt Rule, be around great coaches every day, Evan Cooper, Tony White, Marcus Satterfield, Garrett McGuire. I mean, just be around E.J. Bartho, Coach Raiola, Terrence Knighton. I mean, those guys, Coach Foley. I mean, Rob Dvorak. Those guys are good people, man. I was around good people every day, and it wasn't work. It was fun. And, you know, Nebraska had to do what Nebraska had to do. But at the end of the day, I signed up to do it again. It was fun.
CJ, how do you ensure that the athletes you work with are prepared for college sports? And I know you're not a training operation or academic operation, but you still understand what they need to do. But so how do you prepare them for college sports, these athletes that you work with, and academic success?
Well, number one, you have to be real with them. Now, one thing you don't do is you don't lie to parents. You don't lie to kids. You tell them the truth. And sometimes that affects me getting a client, but I don't want him if I got to lie to him. Like, I'm not this kid's fan. I'm not going to tell him what he want to hear, how great he is. Like, I don't even tell my son how great he is, and he's pretty darn good. I don't, to make sure he doesn't see this either. But I try to just be totally honest with parents about where I think their kids can go. And I look at a transcript. Your high school transcript tells me who you are.
Yes.
If you're a D student, you just want to get by. You don't care about being elite. I've had kids from Regents High School in Austin, Texas, that are elite students, that their academic success has gotten them into great universities because they can score high on ACT or SAT. That allows these top-level academic institutions to say, hey, I might want this guy, but I can't get him. I can get this guy because he's a 33 or 34 ACT. Had a young man from Manville that you introduced me to that was a very good football player, was a better student.
Yes.
He's at Stanford now. So, you know, academic success is just as important as athletic success. So I like to get kids young and tell them, like, your resume to me is not just your film. It's your transcript. If your transcript is amazing, your film will be amazing. Because that means the school you go to, your wife will be smarter. Because you'll go to a smart school that has smart kids that do smart things. And that will help you in life have a better life. And that's just how life is, you know? I mean, hey, trust me, I wish I would have been a better student in Alice High School. I wish I would have done better. But hey, my path is my path. I wouldn't change it for the world. I loved it. I went to a junior college and I made friends today. I spoke at a funeral in December of my college roommate. And I tell people my funnest 2 years in living in 54 years were my 2 years at Blinn Junior College, because I got to be around guys that everybody had a dream, and I got to see who did the right thing to get out of that, to live the dream, and who did the wrong thing to not live the dream. And that's what kids that go to junior college don't get. Like, everybody in junior college says, I'm going big time, man. I'm going D1. I'm going D1. Are you going to make the right decisions at a junior college to go D1? Because you don't have tutors. You don't have nutritionists. You don't have a strength coach. You don't have this and you don't have that. You have to do the right thing. I'll be honest with you. My brother's passing helped me become who I am today, because I realized on November 16th, 1990, that his life stopped. And once I stopped crying and feeling sorry for myself, I realized, okay, what am I going to do to live in his honor? I named my oldest son after my twin brother, Jerry. So I call his name out every day. So I live my life for him, but I don't have bad days. Like, somebody will say, hey, man, I'm having a bad day. Having a bad day? Buddy, I got a phone call on November 16, 1990. Let me tell you what a bad day is. You don't know what a bad day is. Every day to CJ Cavazos is a great day. I don't have bad days. I love my life. I love what I do. I love helping kids. I love helping parents. But more importantly, I love being me. I love, like T.O., what T.O. say? I love me
I
some me.
love me some me.
T.O., I love me some me, T.O. I love me some me.
You know, balancing athletics with academics is significant, a significant challenge for many young athletes, and they need to understand, and most of them do, but you have to understand this balance. And I love the way you implement your strategies, and you foster this type of balance, and it's beneficial. And it'll be beneficial for the people who are listening because academics is important.
Yep.
Let's move to something else, CJ. What changes have you observed in sports recruitment, in the sports recruitment landscape over the past 2 decades, and have you adapted to that?
Oh wow! Let's start off with Ray Mickens and Aaron Glenn. Where'd they go to college? Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
And they never.
I was roommates with Aaron at Navarro Junior College as well.
So they never would have left. They loved A&M. They were all in. They wait their turn. And that's just how it was back then.
Right.
Same thing, I'd say 10 years ago, before Joe Burrow and Justin Fields kind of started doing what they did, they weren't playing, they left. And, now in today's day, we have players like my son that go to Ohio State, loved Ohio State more than life itself, just loved it, and said, I want to play. I just want to play. And, the roster is so stacked at certain schools, they could go to another school and play. Well, they go to another school and they realize, like for my son's example, goes to the University of North Carolina and gets an education that is absolutely second to none, the Harvard of the South, and graduates on Saturday of this week and starts looking at life a little bit different.
Yeah.
Instead of just all football, and realizing that, this education is going to take me a lot farther because there's only one CJ Stroud. There's only one Jackson Smith and Jigba. There's only one Justin Fields. These guys that are generational players, there's not many of them. Don't think your kid's going to be one of them. Think like your kid's not going to be one of them. Get them in a school where they're going to learn how to succeed in life and get challenged every day academically, where when they get challenged in life, they'll be able to succeed. But when you don't get challenged academically, and you go to a straight athletic program school, you're going to struggle when you leave that school and realize what life is. Because I'm going to tell you right now, life is tough, and you better be prepared for it because it's going to slap you with a frying pan in your face whether you like it or not. And if you're ready for it, you'll be fine. If you're not ready for it, boy, it's going to be sad. But I'm going to tell you right now, the University of North Carolina did a phenomenal job of teaching my son something I couldn't teach him, to strive academically to a level that was so high, and you can do it. And that's going to help him at his new institution, wherever that may be successful because he's been through so much. So when I say that, I say my son's going to be at his third school the last 4 years, but 2020 also had a big part on these 2020 recruits because they couldn't even practice their first year. So I would think COVID recruits would get a pass because who would have thought COVID would have shut the world down? It almost shut the Big Ten down. And thank God Kevin Warren, which ends up being a good friend of mine, that's now the president of the Chicago Bears, Kevin Warren said, no, we're going to play. And they played a modified season, got into the playoffs. A&M didn't. All my Aggie buddies are still mad at me, but I still love them.
Listen, I want to reset everything. You're listening to the Mental Game Plan. I'm your host, Jason Medlock, sports hypnosis expert and mindset coach. And we're here with CJ Cavazos. Cavazos. I'm sorry. Cavazos, the CEO of CJ Recruiting. You can find CJ at www.cjrecruiting.com, www.cjrecruiting.com. And I apologize, my brother, been knowing you forever. But in your role with the XFL, we're moving this along a little bit. And at the University of Nebraska, what were some of the innovative strategies you implemented to enhance their programs?
First of all, I didn't implement anything. Everything's already there. These programs are set up for success. What I did for the XFL, I would say I did help the XFL a lot. First of all, working with DJ Dwayne Johnson was an honor, was something that was amazing because he's a normal guy. He's got cameras all around him. The only time he has peace is when he goes to the restroom, which I don't know how he lives, but that's the life he lives. And it's an amazing life. He's always working out. You know, he is what he is. He's a bundle. He's a ball of energy, and he loves football, and he loves trying to help kids. I think his motto is, you know, the 54th player on a roster. He that's him. Like, he really believes that. What I did for the XFL is they were bringing the XFL to Dallas to have all the practice facilities. Well, because of my background of high school coaching, I helped get all of the stadiums for practice facilities through athletic directors and head football coaches that I knew. So my old high school coach, my boss at Dallas Carter, Bruce Chambers, is an assistant athletic director in Arlington. So they opened doors for us in Arlington at different schools and different Mansfield and South Lake Carroll. I know Coach Dodge. And a lot of schools in Dallas where they train are schools because I knew the high school coaches there that allowed these guys to train there. And I think that was huge because that allowed these young men that were coming from all over the country to have a good practice facility and have a good experience. I would say also, you know, at University of Nebraska, what did I implement? I didn't implement anything. I think Matt Rule does a phenomenal job of strategically setting up everything. One thing I did do that I really enjoyed was I was the pro liaison, and I got to deal with every NFL scout that came into the building. And I thought, high school coaches and NFL scouts was my forte. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I woke up every morning excited to see new coaches and meet new coaches, high school coaches, I guess for my network. But when I got a chance to sit down with NFL scouts, I loved it because they're very direct, they're very matter of fact, and they're very straightforward. And I think I have those three traits also. So it made it a lot of fun for me to talk to people that were like-minded. And then I showed them the film, and they'll watch the film, and they're going to evaluate players and do what they do. But I think Coach Rule did a phenomenal job of allowing me to do that. And I'll always be respectful and thankful for him for giving me that opportunity. Universities do what they do, and they got to do it. But I mean, I'm not upset about not being at University of Nebraska anymore. I'm happy to be back in Texas. The weather's better. The weather's better.
Exactly. And I wanted to kind of show some of those things. We'll go back to your website in a little bit, but I wanted to show a few of those things that you were talking about. So amazing. You also did the fellowship coaching program with the NFL. I did the fellowship coaching program with the NFL while I was a graduate assistant at TCU.
I got a quick story on that. Hold on. So I did in Arizona, and this was in 90. It was 01, was 9/11/01. So I think it was 02 or 03. And we fly in to Phoenix. They pick us up there, and we go to the facility, the old facility that the Cardinals had. Well, we're going to take y'all in the van tomorrow to Flagstaff. We have camp there, and it was. And you think college coaching is hard? You have no idea. NFL coaches are grinders. So
yes.
They put you in a dorm, and I'm in my dorm room, and then I share a restroom, and I hear like, "Yes, sir." Big guy opens the door. "Hello." I said, "How you doing?" "I'm Joe Green." Said, "Hey, coach, how you doing?" CJ Cavazos. "Let's go outside and smoke a stick." "Yes, sir." I smoked a cigar and drank a beverage with Mean Joe Green every day during camp. And to this day, Joe Green and I are still friends. I love Joe Green. He lives in Denton. And, I still get a Christmas card from him. He still gets one from me. I'm a huge Joe Green fan because he took a young whippersnapper and CJ Cavazos and treated him with much, much respect and helped me get to where I am today. I listen to a lot of stories on his playing days in North Texas and with the Steelers, and every day was a story. So I might have gotten my storytelling from Joe Green, and I will give him a bird dog for you if he calls me.
I want to emphasize the NFL coaching fellow. Emphasize that I've done one, you've done one. Yeah. We're a handful of guys. It's not many coaches that get that opportunity. Yeah. I was with Greg Williams, O'Neal Gilbert, Jim Schwartz, who was a head coach with the Detroit Lions for a while. So, I mean, I've been in those rooms just like you have. But CJ, the incredible resume that you have, along with being in the room, in an NFL fellowship coaching opportunity is absolutely monumental from the sports recruitment aspect. So can you share a story or a particular memorable experience from your career in sports recruitment that kind of scores this background that you've amassed, and how you were able to help a young man or a young woman achieve?
Wow, I sure can. I was, I guess, about 7, 8, 9 years ago. I get a call from a dad that I helped his son. He says, "Hey,
Mhm.
my buddy wants to call you. His son's a quarterback." And I was like, "Here we go with this quarterback stuff." I was like, "Have him call me." So he calls me. He says, "Hey, I'd like to meet with you. I think my son's a real good player," which of course I hear from everybody.
Yes.
And I said, "Well, send me his film. Watch his film." I was like, "You got a chance." He said, "Can you come see us?" Well, back then we didn't have Zoom. COVID hadn't hit and Zoom wasn't around. So
Right.
here I go driving from San Antonio to Victoria, Texas. And I walk into their house. Nice guy, great family, husband and wife, great people. And I meet the dad and the mom. I see a kid coming from the background. Got boots on, jeans on, and a baggy shirt. So
Mhm.
first of all, the boots is a red flag because that means he's short. He's trying to look taller for me. The baggy jeans mean he's not as big as he wants. He wants to look big in front of me. So I look at him. I was like, "Look at you, Bailey. You got jeans on and boots, man. Go in there, put some shorts on and some flip flops, man. You ain't that tall." It ends up being Bailey Zappi.
Oh,
Bailey
wow.
Zappi sent him to, help get him. His dad was very frustrated in the recruiting process. Called so many schools. He went to so many camps. Everybody told him he was too small, not good enough. New Mexico State, UTEP, went everywhere. I mean, Texas Tech, went to Texas, went everywhere. And everybody said, no, we're looking for a bigger guy. We're looking for this, looking for that. He was never good enough. So God bless America. Charlie Reeve answers my call, which is now the head coach at Victoria East, I think, where Bailey played, or Victoria West. So he's in Victoria. And he was the offensive coordinator at Houston Baptist. Answered my call. Of course, after about 10 times I bugged him on it, he offered Bailey. I guess everybody told him no. He offered Bailey. Bailey goes there. He wins for 4 years, helps him win a championship, transfers to Western Kentucky, plays there for a year, and gets drafted in the 4th or 5th round by the Patriots. Bailey has started probably 6 to 8 games in the NFL the last 2 years. So you talk about a story. People don't realize Bailey Zappi is not in the NFL if he doesn't go to Houston Baptist. His dad and mom believed in him. I believed in him. I watched him play against Angleton. I went to a high school game and watched him play Angleton. They had B.J. Foster at safety and another safety. They had 4 Division I DBs. He threw for 450, 500 yards with all Hispanic and white receivers. I said, this guy can get it done. Like, trust me, this guy's a player. Well, most guys that didn't take my call coaching now, they're selling cars because you can't miss. That's like the Brock Purdy story. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not the reason that Bailey Zappi's in the NFL. Bailey Zappi just needed a chance. And that's like a lot of kids today. I want to help give that kid that chance. What he does with it, were you there? I'm sure Bailey studied film every day. He's a great student, lived a life of probably never got in trouble, just a perfect face for a program, even though it wasn't a big program. And now he's a guy that everybody knows, but I knew the original Bailey Zappi, and I'm just glad to be a small part of his story. But that's a story that I tell parents that you just never know. If you believe in your kid and your kid does the right thing every day like Bailey Zappi did, we don't know where he can end up.
Just stories of success and the impact that you've had on some of these athletes' lives, the personalized recruitment that you offer. I mean, this process is a long one. It's a scary one, but having someone like you, CJ, that really understands this landscape is monumental. And parents, athletes that are listening should really take heed. But I want to know, how do you see the future of collegiate sports and the recruitment evolving in the next few years?
Well, I think it's getting harder for high school. Well, first of all, I know it's getting harder for high school kids. I've talked to enough coaches that'd rather go to the portal and get a guy than get a high school guy.
Yes.
So number one, your head football coach at your university has to believe in development. Yes. Matt Rule believes in development. Joey McGuire believes in development. Steve Sarkisian believes in development. I think Mike Elko will also at A&M, because I know Coach Elko very well, but he has to bring in a lot of guys in the portal first because he's trying to Band-Aid a team and try to win quick, because that's what everybody wants now. I mean, you got coaches making all this money and all these alumni and these boosters, they want to win. So I believe a lot of big programs, head coaches care about development of high school kids. But I believe small programs, like the one in San Marcos, Texas State, would rather bring in portal guys. I think last year, Texas State didn't sign any high school recruits. So that means they just want to bring in portal guys to win now, which is their prerogative. They can do whatever they want. But I think it hurts a high school kid that from San Antonio Reagan or from Converse Judson that had a chance to go there now can't go there because of whatever reason. But UTSA, I think Jeff Traylor does a phenomenal job of wanting to bring in high school recruits. And it just depends on what program it is. Football has changed so much. High school kids, if you have an offer that's committable, take it because it may not be there tomorrow. So there's 3,000 kids in the transfer portal right now. They're taking a lot of slots of a lot of high school kids. I just tell parents, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you do. If this is your first time doing it, you better get with somebody that's done it, whether it's a parent, myself, or anybody. But, get with somebody that's done it now. I had a parent call me the other day and said, well, my buddy's telling me we need to commit to this school. Who's your buddy? We played in the NFL 20 years ago. Well, you tell your buddy that I said football's changed in 20 years. Shoot, football's changed in 5 years. I mean, these guys don't know. They see what they see on ESPN and NFL Network. You think you know. College football changes daily. I mean, now they're going to be able to use earpieces. So did you do that 20 years ago? They're going to be talking to quarterbacks and middle linebackers, calling plays like the NFL. We're going to be able to use technology on the sideline now in college football like the NFL. The NFL is changing their kickoff team to the XFL kickoff. When does college change? Everything's going to change. Everything changes to make it safer and better. We're going to see guys in the NFL now wearing Guardian on top of their helmets, the Guardian pads. We're going to see that on Sundays. Everything's changing. And the only way to keep up with it is to have somebody that does it every day. Don't get a fair weather fan that just watches football and thinks they know football. Get somebody that talks to people that are in the building every day because that's what life is. I tell parents this. If I got a bad heart and I got to go get heart surgery, am I going to go see that guy that just did it once, has worked here for a year or two, or am I going to go see the guy that's done it 25 or 30? You can't make a mistake with your child. Your child is your number one asset, and that's what every parent cherishes is their children. Don't make a mistake in their recruitment. Find somebody that can help you that's in it, that knows it.
CJ, what do you say to the parent or athlete that already knows it when they get to you? They already know, they already understand, they already have it figured out. What do you say to them when it comes to we're just going to wait and see? We're just going to hold out. We got these teams that like us. We're just going to hold out and see. What do you say to those people that are
in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. Good luck. Because there's a whole bunch of guys out there that want that too. And, it's not unless you're a big time recruit, you can wait. But most parents that call me are not big time recruits. They're sons of or daughters of average athletes that just have a dream and want a chance. So it's not something that you can wait on. Hey, push the envelope. What do I say to them? Number one, have you talked to the coach? I asked the parent. Well, no. Well, you need to talk to the coach. Have you been on campus? No. Y'all need to go on campus. Y'all need to show them that you want them as bad as they want you. I'll never forget Legends' first 10, 15 offers. I visited every school for him because I wanted these coaches their offer and how we appreciated their university because he was a freshman in high school. And there's a lot going on as a freshman. And then you have peer pressure from your teammates that hate you because you have all these offers. So I'm talking to him like, don't worry about them. They're not going to be there in 4 or 5 years. And guess what? None of them are. Like your son, when he was in the 8th and 9th grade and 10th grade, those kids aren't there today. Yeah, they might be in a GM. They might be on Instagram or follow them, but they're not friends of theirs today. It's very rare. So I tell parents this, be careful what you ask for. If your son's a big time recruit, thank God, appreciate it and take care of it. But if he's not, and he has an offer for Louisiana Monroe, drive to Monroe, Louisiana. If he has an offer from Southeastern Louisiana, drive to Hammond, Louisiana. Go wherever somebody has offered your kid so you can show them that y'all are interested and go get your money. Because I tell every parent this, These scholarships aren't free money. Do you have 200,000 in your checking account? Because they just offered you 200,000. Right. And if you don't have 200,000 in your checking account, you need to go see them because they're putting money in your pocket. I had a parent tell me one time his son got an offer from Vanderbilt, committed. The dad's happy as can be, quarterback. And he calls me and says, CJ, is this scholarship taxable? Rich people problems. It's like, no, not paying taxes on it. He said, hey, this is a bigger scholarship. It's huge. So, you have to appreciate it as money that somebody's giving you. And that's what I try to educate parents.
And a guidance from a seasoned professional and an expert like yourself is really invaluable to the parents and to these athletes out here. But again, there are this group that actually know more than you do. And they get out there. It's a lot of those. They get out there. And CJ, you talked about this process of these offers and how these things go. But the rule of thumb is, and it's not for everybody, but if you are a junior going into your senior year and you're still camping, it's going to be tough. If you're still in the summer camping for offers, it's going to be tough.
Unless you're at the schools that are a lower level of the ones you went to last year. Like, exactly. Don't go back to A&M and Texas and Baylor your junior year if you were there.
Talk to that part, CJ. Talk to that.
Yeah, so I tell parents this, like, if you go to I tell all these young kids, like freshmen, go to all your dream school camps. Like, go to the dream school. If they like you, they'll see it in you and they'll pull you to the side. I mean, my son was a freshman, he got pulled aside. So they college coaches and college evaluators, they know what they're looking for tomorrow in today's kids. So if you don't get that offer your freshman year, don't go back your sophomore year. Go to another group of schools that you really like. And then start, if you've been to 8 camps in 2 years and you didn't get any offers, your junior year, lower your standards. The Stephen F. Austins, the Sam Houstons, the Houston Baptists, if we're in Texas, I'm talking about, the UTSAs, the Texas States, great schools, very good educations, UTEP. Scotty Walden's going to do a great job at UTEP. Go to those camps and go show them your value. And hopefully they'll like you. If they don't like you, then you're going to end up at a smaller school, which could be a junior college. Because I tell parents this, every path for every kid is different. Don't judge your kid like that other kid. Don't compare kids. Know that the kid under my roof is a kid that I want to help. And I have to come up with a plan of action that can help him. And don't let the kid run you. Find somebody that's lived it and done it and can help you with it. It doesn't have to be me. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of good guys that do this for the right reason. But, the parents got to make decisions that's best for their families. And, beating the horse every time ain't going to be it.
Awesome. Okay, now let's talk about you. Let's talk about the business. Let's talk about the website. Can you, let parents know where to find you? Okay. What exactly do you offer? We know how you do it, but can you give us a refined version of the business side of it, the way you go about it, how to find me, et cetera? I want to give you this time to sell, what you have out there.
So I'm at www.cjrecruiting.com. And, basically parents go on there. I have a book online page where somebody can book an appointment with me for an hour. I'll sit there and talk with them for free. They'll send me a video. I'll indicate to them. They'll email me first. Usually I'll tell them, send me a video. They send me the video. I'll look at it. If I think they're good enough, I'll tell them book an appointment online. We'll meet face to face like we're doing right now. And I'll just be real with them. They might not like it, but I'm not here. I'm not in this business to make friends. I have enough friends. I got a lot of friends. This business is not a friend business for me. This is a business for me. And it's been good to me. And I've been good to a lot of people. So yes. I will evaluate that film, book an appointment, tell them where I think their kid can play. I'm always going to shoot lower than higher because I'd rather overachieve than what I told them, because it's always better to undersell and overachieve because parents like that. And, and then also I never know what a coach is going to think. I mean, I don't ever tell a kid what he can't do. Now, if you tell me you want to go to University of Texas and you're 6 foot, 250 pounds, you play offensive line, I can tell you ain't going to UT. You know what I'm saying? But I like to be real honest with parents. I like to have my first meeting with the kid there, which is a young man or a young lady, whatever sport it is, and I will basically tell them honestly what I think of them in a very brutal way, because that's what college sports is. And then the parents will make a decision like, hey, do we want to move forward? If they do, I send them an agreement. They'll sign it. I'll sign it. We'll move forward. But I always want to try to involve the high school coaches if I can. A lot of high school coaches know me. They trust me. They know I'm doing it for the right reason. But a lot of high school coaches feel inferior. Like, well, why is this guy coming in the picture? Why is this and that? Like I'm not. This is not a match where it's about me or you. It's always about the kid, and it's always about the school. It's never about me. A lot of people in the UIL thought, oh, CJ's the IMG guy. What? I'm not the IMG guy. My son went to IMG. But people that think that are not very smart. CJ's a guy that cares about kids, cares about kids getting a chance to live a dream. And if 3 or 4 kids from Texas go to IMG every year, so be it. That's not what about the 500,000 that are playing here in Texas? But I believe that my website will give you an opportunity to see who I am. It'll show you a lot. My alumni page will show you a lot of people on there that kind of look like your kid. And then, then you make a decision and say, hey, do we want to move forward with this or do we not? Of course, there's a monetary price on it. Just depends on what grade, what age, what everything. But I usually do that on a one-on-one basis. But I love helping kids. But more importantly, I don't deal with kids. I deal with parents. Number one, kids don't have no money. Number two, parents are smart. Most smart parents hire me. Yes. Because you say this, I could invest a small monetary investment right now for a big monetary gain later. That's important. Pay a small fee now to get, but when you hire CJ Recruiting, you're not betting on me. You're betting on your kid. You don't have to go to FanDuel. You don't have to go to DraftKings. You don't have to go to Vegas. You can call me because guess what? If I tell you your kid can play, you can play. I know enough people where the door will open for him. Now, what he does when the door opens or what she does, that's on them.
And that's the good thing about it. CJ, can you give the audience, parents, athletes, even coaches who may be listening, your last words?
Guys, at the end of the day, recruiting is not easy. It's hard. And, have faith in yourself, have faith in your talent, have faith in your ability to be great. And when you think you're great, work harder to be better because college coaches want elite players. And the bigger the school, the better the talent. But know your level, trust your level, and be okay with your level. But at the end of the day, if you can be a phenomenal student, your grades will find you a better institution to live your dream and marry a better wife and have a better life.
Awesome. Awesome. Hang in there, CJ. I want to talk to you. I'm going to move you to the back. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to say a few more nice things about you so you want to listen. But I'm going to close this out, brother. And I thank you so much for coming on the Mental Game Plan.
Thank you very much for having me. I got to have my guns up. God bless you.
All right. All right. All right. Now, wow. And you're talking about experience. You talk about a person who understands the recruiting game in and out just from the marvelous background. But as we wrap up today's enlightening discussion with CJ Cavazos, we are reminded of the strategic relationships and development aspects that define successful sports recruitment and management. And for those who are inspired by today's conversation and are looking to go deeper into sports management and recruiting, consider exploring the principles and practices CJ has shared. CJ's career exemplifies how dedication, strategic innovation, and deep understanding of talent can shape the future of sports. Join us, guys, the next time on the Mental Game Plan as we explore diverse professional and personal growth pathways. Yeah, we're a mental show, but all these things are connected in mindset. All these things are connected with understanding. So until then, keep aiming high and pushing the boundaries of your potential. And if you want to find CJ, you can go to www.cjrecruiting.com, and you can go to his Twitter handle, CJ Recruiting 2. And his Facebook handle is CJ Recruiting. Now, you'll be able to see all of this information on the show notes at the bottom of the screen. And also the Mental Game Plan log on and join us on Instagram. That's at the Mental Game Plan with 2 N's, or follow us on YouTube at the Mental Game Plan. Guys, thank you for following us. Thank you for being with us today. And CJ was outstanding. And we hope to see you again. Good night.